Hello and welcome. Just to get the thing out of the way, I'm going to do my review, and there's going to be just random gameplay in the background, so there's no images. You could just listen to this. Feel free to watch the gameplay. I don't advise you do because I actually suck. But I'm going to review Natlan because I've just been reminded to do that, and it's like, I don't know what to say. The patch absolutely left me speechless. It's so good, Elder. In fact, I could recommend the game to anyone. Except for people with gambling addictions and stuff, it's not suitable because obviously the gacha sucks. I don't think anybody's agreed that the gacha is good. I think if they have, they're probably delusional. But with that out of the way, let's get into Natlan. So, Subaru, Fontaine, and Inazuma all have their own issues and stuff. Just to talk about like the past of all the major patches. Inazuma, underground areas plus vertical movement plus just terribly designed puzzles at times as well, and also enemy design as well, and also drop rates. There's so many controversies in there that is insane. And also like the base Leeway and monster wasn't great. It was good, but it wasn't anything that you could sort of really say was great. But it was what got me started in the game though. Just yeah. I'm trying to clear my glasses whilst I say this. I'm not nervous or anything. I don't know why. I didn't get much sleep last night. 2 hours about. But they all had these issues that were just mind-boggling, and Sumeru was like one of the worst ones. It had so many underground areas. Players literally just, I think, raiding Mihoyo and stuff because of it. There's so many bad design choices as well, it just made no sense. And the other massive controversy that I've seen nobody talking about is how they pretty much undercut Electro characters for over a year, or technically 2 years, because of Dendro. It's because we didn't get Dendro that Electro characters suffered, and that was huge. And when Dendro came out, we all just universally agreed that Dendro was one of the best elements. It still is to an extent, besides Hydro. But the reason it's so good is because it buffed pretty much every single element except for neutral ones like Geo and Animo and for some reason Cryo. I don't know why they didn't have a Dendro one for that. Because it would have been a good idea to have that. It would have been like a sort of melt mechanic, but it gets a bit sort of like slower, like there's a dot or something. A reverse dot or something? I don't know. They had ways to do it and they didn't for some reason. But yeah, Subaru was okay at best. It wasn't the best that it could be. So I'm distracted by a cat outside doing weird tail movements. Hold on. I've never seen a cat do that before. Either it's being pegged really well or it's taking a dump. But for some reason it's on its front, so just, I don't know, like doggy style, I guess. Anyway, speaking of cats, what the fuck was Sumeru's characters? It was just bizarre. I remember when they announced Deo and everyone was like, yay, this character's going to be so good, it's going to be so exciting because everyone loves Deo in the story. Need to put that there. But no, she became a standard banner character and had one of the worst launches ever. Somehow worse than some of his previous characters that were banned, like Yamiko and stuff. Who was buffed with Dendro, by the way, but at the time, Yamiko was an embarrassment, as was Kokomi. There were a lot of weird things going on there. But they only made sense with Dendro to put that out there, but Dea? Nothing. She didn't make any sense at all. Her kit was just badly designed from the ground up, and pretty much only made sense as like a sort of crutch, I guess. Like if you didn't have a pyro DPS, Dea probably would be worth it, and still probably is actually, because there's been updated guides. But she isn't great, and that's the problem. And that was a huge controversy because she could have been really good. She just wasn't. And people were just asking, what the fuck are you doing? So yeah, that was sad times. As Sumeru got along and stuff, and got more patches, it was revealed that it's just getting worse at the time. The biggest problem was the underground areas, I think, and the lack of way to sort of get around. I complained about that since Inazuma, by the way, and they only fixed it in Natlan. So I'll go into that later if I remember. But God, Sumeru was terrible. It had a good story, probably one of my favourites, but it's not great. It's really one of those regions that I sort of wish I hadn't played. And there are better games out there as well, just in terms of exploration and stuff. Exploration, that was hell. As was Inazuma's. Sumeru's for some reason was just a bit worse, and they also introduced time gating in Inazuma, which is embarrassing. And it seems to still be a thing now, unfortunately, in that land. But everyone was looking forward to getting rid of Sumeru, so it was onto Fontaine, and wow, it was so much better. It had underground maps now. It seemed to address some of the issues we had before, like, what technology was it? I can't remember. There was something patched that was really good. They added some quality of life towards the end of it. I remember the expedition one being huge. That was good. Because you used to have to manually dispatch everyone again to do expeditions, which was just a pain. But now you just claim all one dispatch again. And that's it. They seem to take notes from Honkai Star Rail, which came out around the time Fontaine did, I think, or nearly around that. So they probably put their ass into gear to sort of fix that, just for that reason. But Fontaine's story was also really good, and also they released a character called Linny, who is probably one of the most queer-looking characters I've ever seen. Like, I mean, in a good way. I'm pansexual myself. I'm quite involved in the LGBTQ+ community and also advocacy. But he's probably one of my favourite character designs, not gameplay-wise, but looks. I think he's just great. You know, a lot of the male characters are really good looking at times, but then he was just something else. He's pretty much a twink, I think. God, I love that Hayaverse went against sort of like the Chinese bullshit. Like they have authoritarian shit. And released a character like Linny, and that's like great. I was quite happy to see that. But there was one problem with Fontaine that happened to be one of its best things, and that was power creep in certain characters. So, over there, this character broke metas for a whole patch. He was fucking busted. I didn't roll him the first time because I was a bit skeptical, and then I rolled on him later on. It was like, wow, okay, he could have carried me through all this, and yeah, he still does to an extent. He's the most powerful Hydra DPS. He's got free movement. He heals with his sort of charge attacks, kit stuff. He's insane, and it certainly is a controversy in the sense that players felt they needed to roll on him, and players weren't willing to dish out the money, which is fair because characters are expensive, and to get like a guaranteed character, it costs £300 at worst, 100 at luckiest, unless you've saved up. But that was interesting. He certainly was power creep also in the animation area, and he's probably the only husbando character we've gotten since Our Haven to absolutely break the meta and give out big numbers in terms of damage. And he also gave a reason for like Baizu to exist, I guess, as a shielder and a healer, and worked really well with Raiden. He's just so good. But then Farina came out, who's pretty much power creep in the sub DPS area, but not in healing for some reason, because they sort of fucked that kit up. Even though she's got some good healing, she doesn't heal everyone because she has it's basically charge attacks, changes her kit, But the skill was very good, and so was the burst. Burst? Can't remember. I've got Star Rail and Genshin have different terms. I think it's burst. But her burst basically buffs your team, as well as the skill, I think. And that was just breaking so many barriers in like the meta, because she was just too powerful, and she worked really well with Nouvelet for that reason. Still probably one of my most powerful teams yet, because it just one-shots everyone. The only problem with the team is that it didn't have any movement, so that was always a problem. But it's a good trade-off to have more damage, especially now I've got a level 9. And then Novia came out. She was quite powerful. I didn't realise at the time how powerful she was, because I'm using her as a free-to-play sort of loadout. She's pulling like consistent 250k shots with a skill, and believe it or not, that's not even the most powerful character now. So Fontaine was pretty much over, ended with Emily for some reason, who was a pretty weird character. I'd say she's a bit controversial in a sense, because we don't know why she was even released now instead of Sumo. She sort of would have worked there, and also would have buffed Dea for that reason. But she has a weird kit that basically buffs your entire team and does danger application. It's nothing special, we've seen it before with Nahida. She's basically a budget Nahida, I think. There's another way to put it, and she works with burning teams and Burgeon, but I don't know. Natlan, the special program was just hype all over the place, and it was with good reason. Because before the special program even came out, we got confirmation of a few things. We could collect things around the map without having to look at a guide, which is huge. It seems to only work for some things and not other things for some reason. I don't know why that is. It's bizarre. But we got other quality of life. I can't remember them all, unfortunately. But there were all some really good changes. We also got a better gacha system, where it would be a 50-50. It's now a 55-45 in favour of limited characters, which is huge. This is actually such a big deal that it's pretty much allowing players to get characters that they need. Not all the time, obviously, because it's a chance still, but it's much better than the previous system. And they also reduced the epitomised path on the weapon banner. For some reason, not changing it to intertwined fates. Whether the other one is acquaint fates, I think it's intertwined. But they at least changed it to 1, and that's made it so much easier to get weapons, but it's still not worth it in my opinion. It would be better if they just made it so that you can roll any sort of fate on it. This way players have an incentive to roll on it, instead of the standard banner. And if they got rid of the standard banner, that would make more sense, to be honest. Just left it the weapon banner. It gives you reason to save, and, you know, reason to build characters that you wouldn't usually build and stuff. There's so many benefits to it, but I'm quite baffled that they didn't do that. But it's still better than nothing. They've changed it. And weird fact, I ended up getting 2 5-stars in one pool, the limited ones. Not a pity one, just limited. It's crazy. Up next, special program, I guess. It was sometimes hard to watch, but they announced so many different things in that it's just like so much to take in. Basically, the story was different, which I'm not sure about, because I remember Nouvelet saying basically it's a region of dragons and war. This is true to an extent, but it's not like in your face, that sort of thing, which you would have expected, but it's not. And honestly, I was a bit disappointed by that myself, having played Natlan now, gone through the whole thing. It seems not really to be a place of dragons, it seems to be a thing of the past, just put it out there. But it had quite a bit of lore, I think, and it seemed to be a different pace as well. I don't know how to explain it properly. You just have to watch the story yourself. I'll go into something about it later, I think. In the special program as well, they announced you could pick a free 5-star from the limited banner, which is insane. This is such a great fucking thing to add. If only it was permanent, because I think that would help newer players. Because Tainari is still one of the most powerful DPSs out there in terms of Dendro and stuff. I think he's definitely worth rolling on him, picking. Because you'll get his constellation sooner or later and he'll get more powerful. But he's also pretty easy to build for you to play. Yeah, other than that, we also got confirmation that the anniversary rewards are being increased, and at later dates we'll get to pick more 5 stars, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Yeah, to celebrate 5 years, is it now? It's not 5 years, 4 years. 4 years of Genshin Impact. They're obviously going to do more for the reward stuff, which is great. That was the other big thing, but the other massive thing that have changed is you get to pick your artifacts now with 2 substats. They're guaranteed. I think this is a really good design choice. It's not the best thing they could have done, but it's still better than nothing, as I keep saying. Like, the only problem with it is that it's not 100% guaranteed that you'll get other good substats, which is a problem. You know, I did it on my Hydro Goblet for Mualani recently, who I'll also go into later. She got some okay substats on it, but it wasn't ideal. So, you know, she's pretty much built, but she's not like the most damage that she can do. Which, according to some sources, is like 1 million in 1 rotation, I think. I'm doing more than that, actually, personally speaking, but I think there's still a lot to do with the artifacts, and really this is only like the least they can do. They could do a lot more, I think. I think that's it for the special program, other than like the introduction of gameplay systems, and it was just hype from there on out, and with good reason. For once, I was actually really hyped for the update. I was looking forward to it, and lo and behold, it's here, and I almost couldn't believe it. I remember this main quest started out a bit odd. It started in Fontaine for some reason by saying goodbye. And then, for some reason, they put the quest marker on the fucking waypoint to Natlan. I walked all the way there, which kind of was worth it for the view. There's like, why? Why have they still not changed this? That's another quality of life they need. So we got to see Kachina in the story, I mean. And she's great. She's probably one of the cutest characters I've been since Klee. She's pretty adorable. She's got like different personalities, I think. And she's got a shy side, but she's also got a confident side, and yeah, she does resonate with me a bit. But I definitely want to protect her at all costs. Which says a lot about a character, because I don't really feel that way about most characters in the game. God, she's cute. But yeah, not time trials, the character trolls, they've been buffed. I was really shocked when I logged on and the character trials, thinking, I'm not going to lie, these characters all the troll. Nope. They've made a troll that is based around their Night Soul stuff, and for Justin, where you ride the characters and try them out as they're intended. Like, I mean, you ride their skill things. I thought that was really interesting. And also the damage showcase showed it against different types of enemies, and that was really good. I was really impressed with that. And I don't know if it happens, but they might have updated some of the 4-star character trials as well. by implementing like a full team for them of newer characters. I mean, yeah, but that was such a good feature. I also like the quality of life, like little ones, like seeing what you've not completed and like the Serenity port and cooking. That's it one. Those were good. There also was a quality of life that honestly could have been implemented better, where you get Morlani's Ascension materials for completing the final Tribal Chronicles quest, I think it is. I can't remember, but it's definitely something like that. I wish you got that sooner, to be honest, because that seems a bit stupid. But again, it's like better than nothing. There's a lot of things here. I ended up rolling for Morlani early on, and I didn't regret it because she's actually got a strong unit. She's probably the most powerful Hydra character out there at the moment. I'm getting consistent like 490k vapes. Yeah, she's quite strong, but she is C1 and R1. Forgot to mention that. I'll explain that later. I think one of the problems with the game. Natlan was great though. The story was good, and there was power creep in the story. The cutscenes were alright. Nothing too amazing, I don't think. Although I did like the Kachina vs Mulan one. That was great. Also very happy to see what happened there. It was quite entertaining. NPCs got power creeped in the stories. Before, you never used to hear about NPCs being very powerful, and we had local legends in, I think, Sumeru, and Fontaine. We definitely had them, but they weren't like anything special. And like the problem with the NPCs and these previous regions is that they're not portrayed as anyone sort of powerful, or anyone who's sort of capable of fighting like abyss monsters like 1 versus 20 or something. But in Natlan, in one of the quests, I won't go into what one it is, there's one who fucking has a Saurian and took on the abyss himself and pretty much fought until he got consumed by the abyss. And this was an NPC, it's not a fucking playable character. My jaw dropped when I first read that, and it's like, wow. I can't believe they power crept NPCs, it's insane. But I was very happy to see it, regardless. Because it's just one of those things that really matters to the story. Because you often feel like NPCs are like low sort of ranking characters and stuff, like they don't mean anything, they don't do anything that matter. But here they actually are doing something. And that's a huge deal. I don't know why people aren't making a bigger deal out of this, because it is a great thing. It's seriously one of the most underrated things in this patch. You know, before the most that we saw was like someone get a vision. That was in Sumeru. Fontaine, don't think we ever saw it. We did see a criminal mastermind in Fontaine. Forgotten like primordial waters and stuff. And Mechanico Artrice kind of nailed. I can't say the fucking thing. I can't say it, it's just I can't remember. Yes, that's the story side. It's just good so far, other than time gain stuff like Kenichi's quest for some reason. I seem to have done away with story quest, which is good, I suppose. I don't know if it's the best thing that could have happened, but it at least gives characters some more lore. Only big problem with it, I think. Actually, no. No, there isn't a problem, my bad. Let's think of something else. That's it for story. Next is gameplay, I suppose. There'll be a lot to go through. I'll go gameplay and then exploration. I think graphics I'll go through briefly now. Graphics good. There's nothing too outstanding. I've never felt this way about Genshin's graphics, to be honest. It's never been anything that I've solo something good. I think it's entirely in the style. And the style is very good this region, and I was a bit skeptical, to be honest, because it's going away from this fantasy trope and into what seems to be electronic and stuff, and steampunk, almost. We saw that in Fontaine, but I was skeptical of that back then. Yeah. So, gameplay. Characters, more bony, powerful, phlogiston, great. I think that's really a good thing with Night Soul stuff too. Although I do think it's a bit confused, explained confusingly. Because Night Soul is basically just what off-field characters do, and what non-Natlan characters do is damage. That boss your Natlan character, I think that's how it is. And that's okay, but it could be better. I do really like the phlogiston mechanic. I think that's really handy. Because if you have Milani, you could just be on the surfboard for about, I don't know, 30 seconds. It's quite long. Probably longer on water. Because she has that buff in her Ascension, I think. Yeah. Kachina. She's got an interesting kit, but it's not the best kit I've ever seen. I think they could have done better with her, like adding buffs. She could have been like a geo buffer. The way we already had two of them. But I mean, sub DPS, I think she could have been better as that. Also don't think she does enough damage at the moment. She's only good for the artifact buff, which is the scroll. Also the artifacts are okay. I don't think they're anything too special. You can get along with previous artifacts, but they are pretty necessary for like someone like Milani, who relies on them. But the scroll is good for Kachina, at least. I think that's that for the artifacts though. Oh god, I have to explain that bit. I just remembered this one of the things I want to bring up in the review. Time gating and the fucking domain rotation. These are just stupid. We don't have this in Honkai Star Rail, which is one of its best points, really. But the fact we still have to wait for a fucking domain to open is just bad. It's bad game design if you weren't prepared to sort of do that sort of thing with like co-op and stuff. Like you should have enough players for them, but like in co-op and stuff, you should give players like NPCs who can fight with them. Or like, I mean, when you're going solo and you can't find players, give them NPCs. Simple. This way, it's not too much pressure on the player to sort of farm these domains that they're probably under-leveled for, under-geared for. One of my biggest problems when I was starting out, actually, an interesting fact, nobody had the artifacts to do a level 80 domain. We're talking the Crimson Witch artifact set and the Mondstadt weapon ascension stuff. And also that another annoying one, the frozen one for the Mondstadt talents. Wait, are those all in Mondstadt? I can't remember. Yeah, they were sort of, except for the Crimson Witch, but they were horrible to farm. It just made no sense, and players always struggled, and I couldn't do anything because my best character was Barbara, and she was only a healer. And the problem is nobody was following a meta back then, so we all struggled. We couldn't get the gear that we wanted because we either could defeat the domain or we couldn't. It was as simple as that. And it sucked, and it still sucks now to an extent because even though we've got more choices, we're not going to have necessarily all have the gear to sort of beat a domain. Long-time players will, like myself, but newer players just won't. And that's a huge problem that needs addressing, and it hasn't been addressed yet. So on top of the rotations needing to be removed, we need a way for players to get through the domains at their own pace, for that matter. It's Is that it for gameplay? Because most other stuff ties into exploration. Enemy designs, okay, for the most part. There's nothing special, although I will say it's annoying that some still run away from you. Some still also don't climb, which is annoying. I noticed in that lab when someone jumped down, actually. That's the only way I've seen an enemy jump down. Like, I've never seen that before. It seems to be a new thing. I don't know why enemies, just can't climb. Makes no sense. What else is there? I think that's it for like combat and stuff. I want to get the local legends down briefly. I fucking hate them. They're some of the worst designed enemies I've seen in a game, period. And this is mainly because it's exclusive, in the sense that you need a character that can counter them, otherwise you just can't do it. And this isn't the only bad thing about it, it's just the fact that they do so much damage and have so much health, even at well level 8, believe it or not. It just makes it impossible, and the achievements were some of the most unpleasant I've ever had to fucking deal with, and it got so bad that as I was using a Wi-Fi adapter, which by the way, lag won't let you switch characters, which we need to have patched because that's stupid. It made me die so many times and not be able to complete some of the achievements and even like stop me from actually doing one. Because the local legends don't respawn in the open world, but they do in the domain ones. The domain ones are decent, but the open world ones are just hell. I struggled on them quite a bit. And they're just not challenging, but I broke my Wi-Fi adapter because the switching stuff was so fucking painful. I just couldn't cope. I broke the fucking thing. And I just switched back to USB tethering like it was before. And that seems to be working a lot better, luckily. Yeah, local legends are an easy miss, really. Didn't really hit any notes for me. The only challenge really was just the fucking damage and HP. So yeah, they were one of the worst parts of the exploration. Onto more of the mess stuff. The rewards are more generous, I think. Achievements, I think, I don't know much about them actually. There's one that players are complaining about getting perfect score in the new challenge things. I think that's a shit achievement. I wouldn't do it myself. Yeah. What's next for exploration? Is there any new mechanics other than puzzles involving the Saurians? Syrians, however you say them. Syrians. Don't think so. Yeah, there wasn't some new things, but I can't remember what they were. I don't know. But yeah, I think most of the exploration was decent though. It's not the best thing. It's usually one of the sort of meh things about the patches that come out. I do wish there were some better ones, like, oh yeah, in the sort of final patch of Fontaine, the area. Does it seem longer? I can't remember what it's called, but there was some really good exploration in that. It actually was fun and interesting. And they fucked it up somehow here because, yeah, a of us don't learn from their mistakes for some reason, they just commit to them. Also feel free to quote that, because that seems to be true. I get fed up of that. Oh yeah, the drop rates of enemies, that's a shit thing. We were told in level 9 that enemies would have increased drop rates, and they barely increased. You know, we got double damaging enemies, double health, and we still get the same amount pretty much. Like with a 10% bonus, it's pretty shit, to be honest. I think that needs to change again. It needs more drops. Oh, it's just painful sometimes. So many like rookie game developer mistakes. Emerald for exploration. The map, I suppose, is a bit hard to navigate around the mountain area. I did struggle with that for some reason, because there just wasn't any obvious way to get up there. There wasn't any, the rock saurians, it wasn't, I forgot what they're called, Yamakas. Oh, I can't remember. But those things, there just wasn't any of them around, and it's just pain. Yeah. I do like the saurians, actually. They're not good for combat, but they're good for the exploration stuff at times. You know, I'd switch to rock saurian to climb when I didn't have Kachina on cooldown. Although they were just faster in general. I didn't switch to water ones much because I had Morlani. She could stay on water for a while. And the Yonkers, whatever they're called, only really swapped to them for the trolls. I didn't use them for anything else other than shooting stuff. Yeah, I think that's it for exploration. The unofficial map is terrible. They seem to do the same thing that the official map does, which is where they correct or replace things that have been discovered or haven't been discovered. Like, for example, I did a puzzle near a waypoint and marked it off the map, and suddenly it's back. It's like, oh, but I already did this, so why is it here? That was more of a community thing. Did I go into that thing? I said something earlier about going into the things. I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, that's it. The characters. Basically, I run into an issue with trying to get Kachina to like C5 because that's basically where her kit sort of gets better. I have to roll on the limited banner for this, and that's still a problem on these banners. You can't just get a 4-star, even though they're like the weakest ones that you can get sometimes. You just can't always get a 4-star, and what ended up happening was I got a C1 Morlani instead. So I stopped after that, and yeah, I don't regret it. And that needs to change. I think you need like an epitomised path or even a pity system for 4 stars. Because it's ridiculous how you just can't get newer 4 stars. Like, and imagine this, like, save up one epitomised path from one patch and then save it for the newest 4-star in the next patch. It's a no-brainer. Like, come on. On top of the weapon banner change, that would make the gacha so much better and more worthwhile. Yeah, the new weapons are decent. Not the best things ever, but they get the job done, I think. Yeah. I think that's it for Natlan, actually. I got the entire thing done in 1 week, other than the local legends, which I finished today. Yeah, today. Local legends were easily the worst part. Exploration, actually, I forgot to say, the spirit ways in the springs area, they're decent as well. I think they could have done with putting more of them around the map, just for the sake of it. But I'm genuinely excited for the rest of the patch. Like, that one is definitely a much better game than Genshin Impact was before. And it's certainly leading me to say I recommend Genshin Impact now. I suppose we're still lacking accessibility features at times. I think that's it, to be honest. I'm trying to go through like my normal day in like Genshin Impact and what flaws I encountered. Yeah, co-op matchmaking is still hell, because when someone leaves a domain, you can't challenge it again. So you have to go out and then you have to remake the party. That's stupid. Just let players join the fucking domain itself, get in there, then start the game. Like, it just makes no sense. And also, ready check. Like, fucking hello? These are basic things. And they're just not addressed. Like, when I play a game and I see these flaws, I'm like, why? It makes me wonder whether iOS employees actually play the game. It reminds me of World of Warcraft, actually. They're doing the exact thing that World of Warcraft devs did. Where back in Battle for Azeroth, they were basically not testing the game. They're just testing it there and then. Not even proofreading or anything, they just test it there. And we ended up with a lot of bugs as well as just terrible design choices, like gear was shit, bosses were shit. It was just shit all over the place. The scat person's fucking dream, but our nightmare. That's one way to put it. And the devs were the scat persons, I think. And it could be the situation here, to be honest. If you choose not to listen to the voices, then the voices are going to turn against you, pretty simply. That already happened before, and now so many things are being repaired, it's sort of... it's going to tone down a lot. Yeah. That's Natlan in a nutshell. Yeah, I think that's it for this video. Sorry if it wasn't that interesting, it's quite long, I did it unscripted. Still need artifact loadouts, still need like quality of life here in there, like non-dialogue option. Oh yeah, also auto-playing cutscenes, like fuck's sake, so many characters die. And also like the time getting on revival stuff, like don't do that. Just let us revive instantly during the domain, especially with these local legends that are a pain in the arse. God. It really like shows that, again, the lack of testing can just destroy a game's reputation. Because you need it so that players know and understand what to do. It gets tiring after a while. Yeah, finally end this here. Thanks for watching. Farewell.